Okay, welcome once again to another Photoshop tutorial. My name is Alan Walker. I'm going to take you through how to enhance the typical underexposed low light photograph. If I took this one here in my local parish, looks no bad, but there's a lot we can do with this. The first thing normally you would do is probably think, right, we'll get the levels palette up. So to do that, press Ctrl L and I'll bring it onto this screen. And if we whip it up to there, if you look, it's quite burnt out. We're losing a lot of detail here and a lot of detail there. Even bringing our gamma back a bit, it's still no quite right. Well, I'm going to show you a technique I normally use which does give better results. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go into the layers palette. What I'd like to do is duplicate the layer, and to do that with the keyboard shortcut Ctrl J. Where the magic happens is in the blending mode. So we'll go from normal and click on screen, and voila, it's a bit brighter. Now as you notice here, we've not got the same effect we had before. It looks really good. What you can do if it's not quite bright enough, you can just press Ctrl J and just keep duplicating your layer till you get it really bright. I've got this really bright. You'll notice there's no the usual amount of noise. Okay, there's a bit of red colour bleeding, whatever. It just shows you how extreme you can go. I'm going to undo most of this because I only want one layer, but I'll just explain something. If you duplicate a layer and say you think, oh, it's maybe a wee bit too much, but it wasn't enough with the previous, you can actually go in and bring back the opacity, so you can have like 1.5 or 2.5 or 2 1/4 layers. Once you get it the way you like it, normally what I do is I press Ctrl Shift E and that mixes it all back down into one layer. Now the next thing we're going to address is the colour balance. And again, keyboard shortcut Ctrl Shift B, that's your auto colour balance, and we've got it, colour balance. Now it looks not too bad. It was quite dark in the chapel, so it is quite a low key photograph. Now one of the things we're going to address now is getting rid of the noise. We'll go into filter, noise, and whip down to here and reduce noise. If we look here, now we're going to look about and look at areas such as this. Now you can see here there's a lot of artifacts because this was shot, I think it was 1600 ISO, handheld, you know, so it's not the best of quality. Now the settings, I've got the extreme settings, but I'm going to bring this right down here just to show you the standard sort of settings. We can reduce colour noise. So if you whip that up, you can actually see what it does. I'll bring that back just now, and sharpen details. If I take that right up, you can actually see what that does. And basically what it's doing is it's enhancing the artifacts, and that's something you don't want to do. Now this remove JPEG artifact, if I untick that, you can actually see. Now if I take this sharpening up, you can actually see that when I click the JPEG artifact, it takes a wee bit of it away, but no much. So we're going to bring that back. There's two tabs here. You can go into the basic mode or you can go into advanced. Now the advanced gives you per channel. The blue channel is the one that is the noisiest channel of the whole shebang. Right, so click on blue and whip the strength right up there. Take and preserve the details right down, and as you can see, it's done a pretty good job at kind of smoothing it out. I'm going to the overall here, and I'm going to bring the strength up a wee bit, so it's smoothing it out slightly, but I'm not losing much detail. Now what I like to do is bring this up till it smooths out, and I kind of pan round to see if I'm losing any detail. Now it looks not too bad, so I'm going to bring it up quite a bit here because it is quite a bad photograph, and I have got artifacts here. So I think what I'll do is I'll whip it right up and see what I can do. Now see these blotches here, this is caused by high ISO and artifacts. When you shoot up 1600 or 3200 ISO, you're going to get weird and wonderful effects like this, and there's not a lot you can do about it. But if you've got the choice between getting the photo or no getting the photo, well, it's better than nothing. Now, I'm going to bring the reduce colour slider up, and I'll take it right up and we can have a wee look. It does help this a wee bit, but I'm going to bring it back. As we take it up, if we look at various areas, now if you look at this light here, it is actually losing some of the saturation. In this case, I'm going to leave that like that because I can get the saturation back in a good way. And sharpening details, to bring that up, it just brings the artifact, so whip that back down. Remove JPEG artifact, I always stick it to see what it does. I'll leave that on. Just pan about, this wee bit here, that's before, that's after. Not bad, right, okay. Now, I'll apply the settings here. If we press Ctrl Z, we can see before and after. But you can go into the history panel, and if you don't see it there, right, you can go up to window, down to history. When you click on that, it'll bring it up, but I've got it here because I'm in here all the time. You can go back to the original state, which was that, and click on here, and we can see where we've brought it to. Right, so it's starting to look no too bad. It's no perfect because there's a lot of problems with the saturation. What I'm going to do is show you a wee technique. I'll go through it again. I did a training video on converting it to lab colour and using lab colour to increase the saturation. So I'll do it again quickly. Go into image, down to mode, weak it down to lab colour, go up to image, down to adjustments, and we want the curves. You can play about with the lightness here to see the usual sort of S curve that you use. Looks not too bad. It's a bit extreme for my liking. You can play about with it. Looks not too bad. Right, now we'll go into the A and the B channel, and what I'm going to do is bring it right into here. This is quite an extreme photograph, as you can probably see. We'll bring this into here and bring this in to there. It is quite saturated, but I'm going to OK it, and I'm just going to press Ctrl U to bring up the hue and saturation panel, and I'm going to bring back the saturation slightly because that is a wee bit too much, somewhere about there. Looks okay, and OK it. If you look at that, it's starting to look really good. Nice colour, nice warm. That was sort of the way it actually looked on the night when I took that photograph. Now, bearing in mind that was took at 1600 ISO, looks quite good, but just to finalise the whole shebang, we'll go back up to image mode and go back into RGB. One of the things you'll notice about the lab mode, when you go into filter, a lot of the things are greyed out because they don't work with lab mode, so it's always better to convert it. Once you've done the resaturation trick, go back into RGB mode. We're going to go down to sharpen. You can get into unsharp mask or smart sharpen. In this case, we want to try and have as much control as we can because there are a lot of artifacts still in this and we don't want to be increasing them if we can avoid it. Smart sharpen, click here. Now, the bits we want to look at here is round about here because we have got some weird artifacts going on. I'm going to go into the advanced panel, click on shadow. You just move it about till you get something you like. Now, when you click on the image, you can see before. When you release it, you see what it's like after. I'm going to sharpen. We can whip that right up to see. Now, it's bringing out these artifacts, which we don't want to do. When you're sharpening, you've got to try and avoid this kind of rubbish, and that's called haloing. Normally, you would bring the radius up to start seeing that and then just whip it back a wee bit. Now this artifact, and I really don't want to bring that out, I'm going to bring this amount back a wee touch to get rid of it. Now in this case I'm going to tick more accurate. It's actually not too bad. It's not really doing a great job because if you look at it, it's helping it a bit, it is doing a wee bit of sharpening, but because of the artifacts we're quite limited in what we can do. I'm going to show you another wee trick. We'll cancel out of that because I'm not really happy with that sharpening. You can also go into filter, go into sharpen, down to unsharp mask, take it up. The normal one is round about the 100 mark, radius of 1. You can have a wee nosy about We'll take it to where the chairs were. When you click on it, you see it before, release, you see it after. Same sort of thing. There's another way to sharpen, and I'm going to try this because sometimes this gives you kind of good results in these circumstances. So again, what I'm going to do is duplicate the layer, and I'm going to go up to filter and down to high pass. Now what this does, if you look at it, it makes it all this mad grey. Now I'm going to bring this back to around about 4. We'll say 4 just now, and we'll OK that. Right, now you're thinking, how can that sharpen the image? Well, watch this. Get into your blending mode and go to soft light. Now what I'm going to do is zoom in to round about here somewhere, press your space bar and it brings up the wee hand and you can move it about. Now if I click on the wee eyeball there, and you can click and see what it's actually doing. So it's not too bad, it's actually doing not too bad with the sharpening. Look round about the chairs, and again clicking the eyeball to see before and after. No bad. Right, what I'm going to do is do this again. I'm going to click on the background, make that layer active. I'm going to duplicate the layer again, and I'm going to take it up a notch here. And I'm going to go back into filter and down to other and down to high pass again. Now this time I'm going to bring it back to probably there. Now if you look, pressing the space bar, you move about, you can see there's a wee bit of detail here. Right, I'll bring it back slightly more. We don't want to go overboard. Now what this is doing is the smaller bits of detail, it's just going to add that wee extra bit of sharpening, and you click OK. Go in and go down to soft light. There we are. Take the eyeballs off. Now that's what it was before sharpening. And we'll put the 2 eyeballs on, and you can see we've got sharpening, but we don't have artifacts. If we take that off, right, the artifacts was there before we sharpened. When we sharpen, it's no adding, so it's a lot better doing it that way. Different types of images require different types of sharpening. This is the one I would recommend for an image like this. Like a normal image shot in good light, we'll use the normal type of sharpening, works well with that. You can also try this type of sharpening, it's down to your own preference. I'm going to go into File. Now see if you ever want to take your image back to what it was like when you started. You go into File and go down here to this, or press F12 and click Revert. And that's what it was like before I started. I'm going to Edit and Undo Revert, and that's what it's like now. Now look at the difference, it really is a big difference. We've not got artifacts, we've not got noise. Considering the high ISO, I think it's a damn good image.